where you want it?
Bay 12, please.
Alright, I decided Roadrocket's going to be in the G1 video. So this one's going to be G1 with a splash of G2. Hello there, Transformers fans, and welcome back to another Bay 12 video review and part 2 of the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection. And in this review, we're going to be covering the Generation 1 universe characters with the one Generation 2 character that was in this line. We're also going to talk about the most stressful character of the entire collection. I know I don't really need to talk about this one a whole lot. Super tough to find, 1-2 case, everybody wants him. And not everybody is behaving like they should. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So, anyway, we're going to start off with Road Hauler. We're going to do the G1 characters first, and then we'll end off with Roadrocket over there. So here is Road Hauler, and I love how they did him in the Constructicon Green, because Road Hauler was a character, or Hauler, was a character in Generation 1. He did appear in the cartoon one time. He was in the very first episode. He wasn't green, but he wasn't quite the same color of orange as Grapple either. But I mean, later on when he finally got a toy from Takara, they made him Constructicon Green. Now, it's really cool that they made him Constructicon Green. It was later retconned that he was one of the members of the Constructicons before the war, and he just didn't end up joining the Decepticons. He ended up joining the Autobots and being a good guy. But, like I said, he only had one appearance in the cartoon, one scene where he shows up to pull Hound out of a ditch because he got shot by Laserbeak, and that was the last we saw of the character. He never appeared in the cartoon ever again after that. So, as such, he never got a toy, which would have been Grapple had, I guess, they called him, had they called him Grapple in the cartoon, because it, like I said, it wasn't quite the same shade of orange as Grapple, but close enough. And maybe it was Road Hauler was a working title, or they were still playing around with the names at the time, which is why they called him Hauler in the first episode. And then later on, when Grapple showed up in, I think, Season 2, because I don't think he was in Season 1 at all other than that one appearance, he was Grapple, you know, and he was working with Hoist. So, who knows? Who knows how that error occurred, but it did, and we got a whole nother character out of it, and finally, after all these years, Hasbro's released the first official Hauler figure. So here he is. Again, awesome. I love him in that Constructicon Green. He looks so awesome in those colors. There's some awesome artwork of him on the side there. There is some more of that awesome artwork. It's pretty much the other end of it. And on the back, you've got some images of Road Hauler there. And that's pretty much it for the box. Not really a character I would pick for, you know, the Velocitron Speedia 500 set. Don't get me wrong. Really happy we got Road Hauler, but he doesn't quite fit the let's have a race on a racing planet, you know, dynamic. Still cool, though. Here he is. I already have all of his accessories attached. Again, just like all the other accessories in this set, they are all wrapped up in tissue paper, but you have the swappable hose nozzle, blaster nozzle, hand swappable piece right here, which can just tab onto the side. Since Grapple for sure has a blaster hand, I'm not going to display him with a blaster hand because, well, in Generation 1's cartoon, we never see him in robot mode. He also comes with that awesome big claw attachment, much like Grapple did. Maybe I'll display him with this as a hand. I think that would be neat. What do you think? Of course, that is removable. You have his little crane hook right here. He has the extendable crane hook arm. And then there's his blaster rifle right here on the side. Awesome, awesome figure. Exactly the same as Grapple, just in Constructicon Green. And that's pretty much it. Transformation is exactly like Grapple. We're going to start with the legs over here. They're tabbed in, so just be careful when you're pulling those, because sometimes these pegs can be a little tight with this mold. Same with the Inferno, or Hosehead, I think, was the Japanese Target Master version. So just be careful with that. Just make sure you don't pull on those too hard or bend them too hard, because you can snap those pegs into the feet. And then we're just going to basically pull this whole section down like so. We're going to untab the arms and then just click the shoulders into the side of what was the front of the truck. Bring those arms down. And then we're going to take this whole section. We're going to raise this up, raise that down, raise this up, tab that into place. Before we bring this whole section all the way down, flip the box over with his head in it, and then it'll click into place. And then you just bring that down, and there you go. We're pretty much just about done. All we got to do now is adjust the feet. They are on a double hinge. They just tab into place. Flip out the robot mode hands. And he is all done. A nice simple transformation for a really awesome character design. And he looks good. He looks really good in robot mode. That green shows really good. I like how just about every one of these figures has a different facial expression, and his is just it looks like he's yelling or he's shocked or something. You know, I really like that facial expression. He can hold his rifle in either hand. You can leave those hands transformed, and you can have the, like with Grapple or Inferno, you can have that blaster hose or nozzle attachment for their blaster hand. You can swap it with the claw. You can have him with a blaster hand and a claw hand, or vice versa. You can have those switched. You have some cool options there. And for comparison, here he is next to Grapple, which was actually the first figure released of this mold. So there you go. There is Grapple, one of the architects of the Autobots. It'll be really cool down the line if we end up getting his little Energon tower, his little solar Energon tower that he designed in the cartoon. I think that would be really neat. But there you go. There is Grapple next to Road Hauler. He has the same exact articulation. Head is, I mean, it's technically on a ball joint, but it's a very tight area, and so his head mostly just turns side to side. Fully articulated shoulders, upper biceps, single jointed elbows. Nothing at the wrists other than being able to swap and flip that little nozzle around or peg around from the fist. Hips, waist, hips, then thigh. Single jointed knees, side ankle joints, forward and back on those, mostly due to transformation, but you still have that. And that's pretty much it for Road Hauler. Long awaited, very overdue. I'm glad we finally got him though. And honestly, I can't really think of another version of this mold that we need now. I mean, I guess Shattered Glass Grapple and or Inferno would be cool, but I don't think this is the colors for the SG version. Not that I can recall. Don't think it is. It might be. That'll take some further research later, but I don't think he doubles as your Shattered Glass Grapple. Just plug that in. You know, I'm gonna plug that in right here. That'll look cool. There we go. He can have the claw hand. Bam. Alright. Pretty much it for that guy. Next up, Cosmos, as we're making our way through Generation 1. Cosmos is what all the fuss was about. Again, I'm not going to get too much into all that fuss because it's totally ridiculous and in some cases upsetting. So I'm not going to get into that. If you're able to find Cosmos, just pick him up. Don't think about it too hard, because somebody might show up and swoop you on him while you're standing in the toy aisle, who has been hunting for several stores. I know I hunted. I was checking my Walmarts in my area, and there's several in my area. Sometimes twice a day, but at least once a day for almost 2 weeks straight before I finally found a Cosmos. And some Walmarts are only getting one. Now, his accessories are, he comes with a flag to start off the race. That just pegs on. I don't know why. He wasn't even in the comic when they were doing the Speedia 500. And here is his blaster pistol. So I love that he comes with his blaster pistol there. Here he is in his UFO mode. I mean, they nailed it. That's part of the reason why everyone's going so crazy over this guy, is Hasbro really, really nailed it when they did Cosmos. He looks fantastic. Cosmos was always my favorite of the mini-bots. I know he's a lot of people's favorite of the mini-bots because he was the most unique. I mean, amongst a ton of small cars, you know, because Bumblebee was amongst those. So amongst the small cars and a tank and an airplane, the most unique was the UFO, because Hasbro imported the UFO toy from the Micro Change line as well. I think it was Micro Change for the mini bots, and it just stood out. It was so cool. So there you go. There's Cosmos. Transformation's pretty simple. I'd say it's one of the more involved ones though out of this line, but it's still pretty simple. We're gonna start by unpegging the arms from the side, unpegging the little hip flaps on the side, pulling back, and ripping off that panel, but don't actually do that. Pulling back on this whole section right here. As you can see, that just extends all the way back. So you want to get all that. And then next we're going to come down to the legs. We're going to bring them forward, and then we're going to bring his waist forward. I mean, his hips are attached to his waist, but yeah, his waist forward. You can bring those flaps down now. Untab his legs. Fold his foot forward. Bring this piece to the back. It's his heel, and it's gonna secure that whole foot assembly together, which is really nice. Do the same thing over here. Bring that around. Tap that into place, and there are his legs. Now he just looks like a walking trash can with a bunch of stuff on the back. Next up, we're going to rotate this whole section around, fold in that trunk section, I guess, for lack of a better term. Do UFOs even have trunks? I don't know. I've never seen one in person before. And then there's a little notch in the side right there, and there's a little tab right here on the back of the canister. You're going to just kind of fold that up until that falls into place, and you'll hear it kind of click into place. Next, just bring these sections down. Those are going to click onto the side of the canister, like so. Rotate those arms around. Fold those wrists out, or fists out. There you go. And now all that's left, and this is my favorite part of the transformation. Rather than pull up, because his head was always, you know, poking out of the top of the UFO mode, rather than pull up on it as Cosmos figures past. Come on. There we go. You rotate that whole section instead. I love that. That is just so neat. And he looks great. He's got decent size to him. He's not super small. I mean, he's still one of the smaller Autobots. He's still, I think he scales really, really well with the current generation's modern G1 characters. You can put his blaster in his hand here. But I think he looks really great. I think he turned out really, really well. So while the hype is crazy right now, just be patient, do your best, keep doing that hunting, stay on that grind, and you hopefully will find him eventually. But this figure is awesome. I think he's well worth it. I think he is well worth it. He is fully articulated. Head is on a ball joint. fully articulated shoulders, bicep. In it, you can rotate, you can fold the wrists in and out, but that's mostly due to transformation. Waist, you got these awesome hip flaps here, fully articulated hips, upper thigh, single jointed knees, and side ankle joints. And that is pretty much it for Cosmos. Really awesome. And last but not least, now we're going to step into Generation 2 a little bit. And here is Roadrocket. Roadrocket is not just one of the G2 Autobots, but he's also a ninja. Love it when they do Transformers ninjas. And now that they keep doing more ninjas, and they've reused this mold a couple of times. It started out with the Prime Universe RC figure. If you haven't watched that review, go back and watch that review. It's a pretty cool figure. I know I've seen some people say it'd be really cool to see him get a retooling into animated universe Prowl, which, yeah, I think that would be neat. I would totally buy that. But we'll see. We'll see. So here he is. He's probably close to the smallest. He might be tied for smallest with Cosmos here in the whole Velocitron line. I love the color scheme on this figure. He's a red and blue motorcycle. It reminds me of the Marvel Transformer crossover Spider-Man figure, because when they were doing the Marvel crossovers figures back in the mid-2000s, they did a Spider-Man as a motorcycle. And that's what this very much reminds me of. He comes with the same Energon disc blade as RC, except this time they painted the little star part of it, so it looks like a throwing star with just some Energon blade effect, I guess, around it, which I think that's pretty cool. I like how they did that with him. It would have been cool, now that I think about it, if they had maybe done some silver on the edges for RC, since she had her arm blades come out, and that's what they were trying to simulate with this for the Prime Universe RC. It does have the kickstand just like RC does. It rolls just like RC rolled. And that's pretty much it for Roadrocket in bike mode. Transformation is just like the Prime Universe RC. We're going to open up these flaps over here. Kind of raise this section up. We're going to untab these arms over here. Split the whole bottom of the bike section. That's the legs. Get those all rotated up and around. Fold that section down. Rotate it. Fold up the crotch plate. Bring those down, bring those down. Fold that over. Raise that up. Fold that over. Raise that up. Click them into place at the knees. Fold the front of the foot out on both. There we go. I'm definitely looking forward to the Shattered Glass Flame War figure that we're getting here pretty soon. Also with this mold. It's not the first time RC has been remolded or repainted into Flame War. And then we're going to bring this whole section down. Just kind of collapse it up on those hinges. Fold those bits up. And there is Roadrocket. G2 Roadrocket in his robot mode. And he looks cool. Go ahead and put that over there. You can use that as a shield, or it's not really a good spot for him to kind of hold it in his hand. Not in a way that looks too cool. Just like with RC, the front wheels come off and can split into like a little blaster like weapon type thing, is I think as what they described it as. Which, sure, if you use your imagination hard enough, I guess it does kind of look like a blaster I suppose. Fully articulated head is on a ball joint. Fully articulated shoulders, in and out. Bicep, single jointed elbows. Nothing really at the wrists at all because the forearms slide up, or the back bike section slides up over the thing. The waist is on a ball joint. Hips, single jointed knees, side ankle joints. Nothing really forward and back. I mean, technically the foot from transformation, but the heel doesn't really move at all. So that's pretty much it for that. And for comparison, here he is next to the Prime Universe RC figure. So you can see how they stand together side by side. Again, same figure, same accessories. Just really all they changed mold-wise was the head. Got a whole new head sculpt to match the G2 toy. I do like, if you look at the chest there, does have the G2 Autobot insignia there. I love that they're starting to do G2 Autobot insignias on G2 characters. And some G2 Decepticons have the G2 Decepticon insignias. I wish that, and here is Laser Optimus, which is G2 Optimus. I wish that the Laser Optimus figure had the G2 insignia and the G2 Wreck and Rule Leadfoot did. Now, I got these from Toy Hacks. That's where I usually buy my different insignias from. And I put an awesome G2 label on Wreck and Rule Leadfoot. If you haven't watched a review with him and Master Dominus, go back and watch that. And I also added some to Laser Optimus. He's got one for the top of his cab. And I put one on each of the side doors. You can't really see him in robot mode, but for when he's in truck mode, he's got them on the sides rather than having the G1 Autobot insignia, because they should have the G2 ones at that point. So there you go. Pretty awesome characters. I'm really liking the Velocitron subline so far. These were pretty much all characters I had to get for my collection for one reason or another. But I just don't like that it was a whole Walmart exclusive line. Walmart's notoriously the worst at handling exclusives. And annoyingly so, they keep getting more and more as the years go by. I don't know why they keep getting more when they're the most frustrating to deal with exclusives. But it is what it is. Anyway, stay tuned for Part 3. Part 3, we are going to be reviewing RID Scourge, or Black Convoy, if you subscribe to the Car Robots version of that universe. Stay tuned for Part 3, and then Part 4, we will finish off this set with IDW Universe Blur and Cybertron Universe Override. The two that belong in this set the most, more than anybody else. Roadrocket and Clampdown, kinda, yeah, but if anybody should be in this collection, it's definitely Blur and Override. So, and Override was actually in the race. So there you go. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe, follow us on social media, and check out our monthly Bay 12 live sales on our Facebook page. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. Transform and roll out.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.